We do this every year, the Dallas Mavericks fan survey, and we're going to do it right now. A good amount of questions. Logan with the $2. Nico might be the smartest GM in NBA history. Stay on that side, man. Stay on that side. Pull up those Google Sheets, folks. Here we go. Should be a good survey. Should be. Would you rather scream a random word you have no control over 10 times a day, or every time you sneeze a hamster appears in your hands? Well, here's a problem here, right? Is I have allergy problems. So, and from what I understand, don't hamsters fuck like crazy? Isn't there a reproductive problem there? So the issue is I would probably inadvertently double, triple, maybe even quadruple the hamster population of this planet, and I'm not entirely sure the consequences of that, right? Not entirely sure the consequences of that. Now, the other thing is, I am a public-facing guy. I can't just be saying random words 10 times a day. Now, I could say, hey, guys, it's not in my control, but that's... you know what I mean? Did you attend the Mavs ball? There is not a chance in hell I would ever be invited to that. You understand? Not a chance in hell. And they know who I am. I've talked to Mavs people, but there's not a chance in hell. Quality seems worse today. I streamed directly from Streamlabs, so I didn't have my usual settings. I don't know. It looks fine on my end, honestly. It looks normal to me. Okay, let's get into this. When did you become a Mavericks fan? Just get the jokes out of the way right now, please. Let's go. Get them out the way. Let's get the jokes out the way, guys. When did I become a Mavericks fan? Yeah, I want to hear y'all's answer as well. The 1990s? No. After the Luka trade? I would love to talk to someone like that. Someone's like, yeah, actually, I really didn't care much about the Mavs when Luka was here, but after the trade, I really locked in. I admired that. No, we do these every year. So mine's early 2000s, Dirk and Nash era. That's when I became a boy. That's when I started to early 2000s, probably around 2003, 2004. So really when I started to gain consciousness and really kind of lock in. I would maybe even say, depending on what they consider late 2000s, because it really was around 2004, 2005. And admittedly, there wasn't a lot of like Steve Nash. 2004, damn. There wasn't like a ton of Steve Nash crossover in my brain. But I will go early 2000s though. I remember you saying if nothing happens, we won't hear of you over the deadline, and then this dog pile happened. I know. It was 2002, 2003 for me. I was 7 years old. Yeah, I vividly remember my first memory. I want to say it was around 03 or something. My grandpa got courtside tickets through his work. Not courtside, but like 3 rows up. And we went. And that was like the first time that I would really was like, oh, shit, this is sick, right? And then the 2006 playoff run really cemented it. And then I remember one time we went, I don't remember when it was. It was later. I was like 13 or 14. I wasn't that young anymore. We went, I was with my dad, and I saw that like the ball boys, before like the game started, they were on the court shooting, like the ball boys. They're probably my age at the time, 13 or so. And this usher comes by, nice lady. But at the time, I felt like she was really patronizing me, okay? She walks up and I go, hey, how do I get on the court? I clearly talking about the kids shooting on the court. I was like, I want to go out there and shoot some hoops on the fucking Mavs court. And she looks at me, she goes, well, if you train really hard and you practice every day, one day you might be able to go on the court. And I was like, no, that's not. Thank you. I got it. Thanks. How many Mavericks games did you watch in the 23-24 regular season? All of them? Watched every single one? At least once. Some of them twice. How has the Donćić trade affected your fandom thus far? I saw the first game Steve Nash Suns played against the Mavs. It was after Revenge of the Sith. And they superimposed Dirk's head onto Obi-Wan and Steve Nash onto Anakin's. Dirk cut Steve's hair off. Hell yeah. There needs to be another one here. I'm going to say no change. I've done the same exact thing still, right? Actually, I would say less engaged because I missed a couple streams here and there. I have felt a little bit less engaged. If I'm being completely and totally honest with you, I have felt a little bit less engaged. How has the Donćić trade affected how often you watch Mavs game? No change there. I've still seen every single game. Feel free to elaborate on how or the Donćić trade has changed your Mavs fandom. Well, Tim, and I feel okay calling you Tim. It's me, slightly biased. Look. When it comes to the trade, first name basis, yeah, right. Look, when it comes to the trade, what can you even say? I mean, seriously. That's a good answer right there. I'm gonna do the Adrian Brody speech. I'm gonna type for 5 minutes and 30 seconds and say nothing. When the trade happened, I thought to myself, surely this can't be real. Turns out it was. Every day since, I have tried to process it. And yet, I still have been unable to do so. I guess let me ask you, how has this trade changed your fandom? I look forward to hearing back from you. Right. This is how you do an interview, folks. You turn the table back. Right. You turn the question back. This is the Ryan Russello. Yes, this is the Ryan Russello podcast answer to this question. Look, when it comes to the trade, right? I'm not going to sit here and say it was a good trade or a bad trade. It was probably a bad trade, but who am I to say if it was a bad trade or not? We could look back at this in 10 years and say, you know what? That was actually a good trade. At the time, I want to say it's a bad trade, but everybody's saying it's a bad trade. I don't want to pile on. But will I sit here and say it's a good trade? Well, I'm not going to do that. But I could see your argument if you want to say it's a good trade. Look, you could go both sides on this. I'm just going to say, I don't think it's a good trade, but in 10 years, if we're going to look back on it and say it was a good trade, then okay, we're going to do that. Right through the TLDR, Free Palestine. Too long, didn't read. Free Palestine. Okay. How closely have you / do you plan to follow Luka Donćich's Lakers career? This is where it starts to get rough, guys, because I've watched every game. Last night was kind of a shocking moment for me because I couldn't fucking do it, man. I'm sorry. I'm not rooting for them. I'm not rooting for the Lakers. Like, I have to be honest with you, man. I've just found myself not wanting them to win. And it has nothing to do with Luka, because when he does good things, I feel good. But it has everything to do with I don't want them to win, really. So what does that say? What does that say, really? I'll follow it. I'll follow it closely. I don't know if I'd say very closely. Based on the known reasons for the Donćić trade, which of the following statements most align with your opinion? The Donćić trade was justifiable as is. The Donćić trade was justifiable if Dallas had received more in return. The Donćić trade was not justifiable in any context. Yeah, it's probably not justifiable in any context. Not because, let me watch my words here. If the front office really thought, and look, one of my main takeaways here is the fact that they didn't fully expect the amount of blowback that they got sort of leads me to believe that things behind the scenes were probably pretty bad. Like, it had reached a boiling point, at least from Nico's perspective. And so they thought that they would say, hey, all of these things are happening behind the scenes. And then fans would be like, oh, okay. But that's obviously not what happened. Even if we were to say, okay, there were some problems, whatever, you still should get more. You should still get more 10 times out of 10. They didn't say anything truly bad, though. I mean, none of the things that got said by the front office following the trade were stuff that we hadn't heard already, honest to God. But it just wasn't, it didn't sound great right after the trade. I would say you still, no matter what, you should have gotten more. Right, that's right. They haven't said anything we didn't know already. The only reason it didn't happen before the season was because they went to the finals and Harrison didn't think he could get away with it. I think that's true, honestly. Do you believe the reported reasons for the Donćić trade, conditioning, injury, risk, off-court habits, defense, culture, are the primary reasons for it? Regardless of whether you agree with them, do you believe these reasons are why he was traded? I do believe that's it. I believe that's it. Those excuses are stupid. What do you think it is then? I don't buy into any conspiracies. I don't buy into any of it. I don't think there's more. I'm going to be real. I mean, depends on what you define as more. I think that they thought we're not going to, because of all of the reasons that we said, we're not going to be comfortable paying him $350 million. That's why when those reports came out, I was like, oh, they're trying to avoid a tumultuous offseason. That's what they meant. It wasn't like, oh, Luka's going to demand a trade. It was, we're not going to extend him. Bill Duffy's going to come to us and say, hey, let's do it. 5 years, $350 million. Let's go. Let's sign it. And the Mavs are going to be like, oh, we're not sure we want to do that, actually. And then that was going to cause problems immediately. So I think that's it. I don't think there's a Vegas conspiracy involved. I don't think there's a league-wide conspiracy involved. I just don't think. I think that's it. Nico just thinks he's smarter than everyone else. Well, yeah, but I mean that's it. Then he traded him because Nico thought all of these things are problems. That's it. Nico doesn't like Luka. That's it. That's it to me. I'm sorry. I'm going Occam's razor. I know we want all of these conspiracies and all of these things to be true. I don't think any of them are true. I don't think Nico liked him. Feel free to elaborate on why you do or do not feel those reported reasons primarily led to the Donćić trade. Okay, sure. Occam's razor. Boom. That's it. How confident are you in Nico in the front office? Oh, man. Should I do that? Tim, and referencing back to my earlier answer, I feel comfortable calling you Tim. I'm going to go 2. Confidence has been shaken dramatically. But I still feel like in totality, if you take out the Luka trade, he's done a good job. So where does that leave me? How's the Grimes trade going? Grimes trade's not going well. Although I will say that the part where Grimes' agent wanted a trade never gets brought up in these conversations. And I'm going to be honest with you. And this is with me being like, dude, Nico Harrison's done some inexplicable shit recently. I still get, even with everything we know, I still get the logic of that trade. I do. I still get the logic of that trade 100%. It made sense to me. And it still does. Because you're not going to pay Grimes. You offered Grimes, and I'm assuming was $8 million a year, because that's what you've established. This is what we want to pay these guys. $8 million. It's what you gave Najee. It's what Caleb Martin's making. $8 million. This is what we want to pay these type of players. Just when we look at our contract situation, we don't want to hamstring ourselves by being in a first apron, second apron team. So, okay. Grimes didn't sign the extension. He's played his way into a contract that's probably a little bit outside of our price range at this point. Let's trade him for a guy who's under contract for $8 million a year. And on top of that, somebody who could be attached in a trade in the summer. They need a tradable guaranteed salary for the summer. Yeah, that really was it. And also, you brought in Max Christie, who, yeah, is probably going to slot in and do a lot of the same stuff. How's your confidence level in Nico Harrison's front office changed since his past summer? I mean, I would say less confident for sure. Yeah, it makes perfect sense for Grimes to want out. Or at least for Grimes' agent. I don't know if Grimes himself said it, but Grimes' agent was the report that Grimes' agent wanted out. That makes total sense. Quentin Grimes is not a proven NBA player. We need every chance we can get over the next couple of months to improve your value. And if you're going to be behind somebody on the depth chart potentially, then it makes sense. Grimes worth more to other teams. Agent makes more money. Yeah, exactly. And hopefully Caleb Martin plays this week. How confident are you in Patrick Dumont and the team's ownership group? I have no confidence. I would probably say this about Cuban. I don't feel confident in any team's ownership group. Why the fuck should I? Dude, throughout the history of sports, there's maybe a tiny handful of owners that you would feel really confident in. Outside of that, these guys, the owners are wishy-washy. Wishy-washy. There's no way you can see how clutch with the Fox situation with Sacramento, San Antonio, and think the superstars in the Luka trade didn't get exactly where they wanted to go. I really don't know if Luka would have asked to go to the Lakers if he had a choice. How has your confidence level in Patrick Dumont and the team's ownership group changed since the past summer? I would say no change. I don't know if I was ever confident in them in any real way. I don't know if I was ever confident in them. How confident are you the Mavericks can win a championship in the next 5 years? Total confidence, meaning that you 100% think they're going to win a championship in the next 5 years? I agree, Wopo. I kind of think it's 3. I don't think this is a bad team at all. Really, I don't. I look at the landscape of the West, and if they were healthy right now, we're having a completely different conversation. That goes without being said. I mean, they aren't bad, but they won a title. Luka loves Lakers and playing with LeBron. I don't think he would have picked the Lakers if he had a chance. I think it's 3. I think it's a 3. How much do you believe the Mavericks? Ivani, 12 months inside the Delusional Club. A year. New badge. Thanks for being our binky. You guys are welcome. I'm happy to be y'all's binky. That's true. I mean, winning a title is really difficult. And even with Luka on the team, I don't know how. It's just so difficult. Two's right. Two's fair. You basically have a 2 or 3 year window after this. How do you believe the Mavericks' current roster, when healthy, compares to the immediate future to what it was before the Donćić trade? When healthy? Can I say something without getting screamed at? I would say it's about the same, probably. I would say when healthy, in the immediate future, this year, next year, I think they probably have the same ceiling. I'm going to be honest with you. Maybe a little bit of a lower ceiling just because you don't have the Luka could pop off for 40 points in this playoff game thing. I think it's slightly worse solely due to Luka's offensive abilities. I think that makes your ceiling higher. Yeah, that's true. So you think this team, when healthy, would take us to the finals? I don't think it's impossible, man. I don't know. I look at the Western Conference right now, dude. Defense is much better. Nobody can genuinely nobody could argue that, right? Surely. You can't assume full health. Well, this does say when healthy, to be fair. Thunder Nuggets wash us, dude. The Nuggets are not good. The Nuggets are not. The only reason why we even mention the Nuggets with like actual real contention talks is because they have Jokic. That is it. There's no other reason we do it. No other reason. Jokic just thinks the AD, man, I can't trust it. Look at our resident Nuggets fan, DQ. My disgusting, disgraceful Nuggets. We need them basketball runs again. I know, dude. I know. It's been a while. Who cares about healthy? Guys, the question is saying when healthy. All right? That's what the question is saying. You think Kai's going to take it like Luka? Well, here's the thing, guys. They're not playing the same type of basketball anymore, right? So Kyrie doesn't have to do all of the Luka things. That's not what's being asked of him when healthy. Lively injury prone though. Oh my God. All right. I'm just going to say here, how confident are you? How confident are you that Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis, when both available, could be the two best players on a championship team? I think it's a 3. I mean, I don't know, guys. They've been okay. Think about this. How do you believe in the Mavs' current roster when healthy compares to the immediate future versus what it was for the Donćić trade? So the Mavs have done great in the playoffs, right? But they had been crawling through regular seasons and the 5 and 4 seed, all of that due to injuries and stuff like that. The highest they've been is a 4 seed. Do I think when healthy they could achieve that? Yeah, I do. I do believe that as well. And then do I think the right matchups, they can make another deep playoff run? I absolutely do believe that, especially when I look at the landscape of the Western Conference. I absolutely do believe that. Lively without Luka is a major question for me? No, not for me, honestly. I think offensively he might struggle a little bit more, but if the Nuggets get Mavs first round, Nugs in 5, Do you not think Luka would have won a chip with the Mavs in the next 5 years? I mean, it wasn't a certainty. Guys, the question's when healthy. You guys are being really fucking annoying in the chat. The question literally says when healthy. And I get it. They're not healthy. I know. I fucking know. Like, Jesus Christ, I'm aware. That's not what the question says. How confident am I that Kyrie Irving and AD, when both available, can be the two best players on a championship team? Man, we talked about this once. I forgot what we were referencing. Paul with the $2. Hey, are you where they are healthy right now? Thank you, Paul. That you, historically speaking, I think we're talking about the Rockets. Historically speaking, if you want to really contend at the highest level, you have to have a top 5 player, top 7, maybe at worst. As much as I love Kyrie Irving, I don't think at this point in time he's going to be considered a top 5 player in the league. Absolutely should be an NBA player this year, though. AD is different. And I guess here's the thing where if the Mavericks did go on a long run, I think almost everyone would consider AD a top 5 player at the end of that run. Where is AD at right now? He's around top 7, right? Top 8, top 7. Definitely top 10. The way he was playing this year, for sure. I'll go 2. I feel like that's fine because that leaves me to that puts me where I was. Where how confident are you that the Mavs win a championship in the next 5 years? I'm not super confident, but I don't have no confidence. Feel free to elaborate on why you believe the current Mavericks team is better or worse in the immediate future than the team before the Donćić trade. they don't have the Luka killer raising their ceiling in the playoffs. What do I mean by that? Well, good question. Luka being someone who could pop off for 40 on any given night. I mean, that's doing him a disservice. 40 and 15 on any given night gives you a chance versus anyone. I do think, when healthy, this Mavericks team has a very high floor. Maybe even higher than before. However, they have to get healthy. And at the 999, I've been a Lakers fan since Kobe. However, Luka became my favorite player since Real Madrid. Last year when he was in the finals, I was rooting for him get his first title. I wish you all the best. Thank you, Anime. I hope you enjoy him. How confident are you that Kyrie Irving will remain in Dallas past the 2025 season? Total confidence. I'm a 5 there. I'm very confident in that. The Mavs derangement syndrome. Lakers with AD. Their team isn't good and get destroyed in the first round. AD on Mavs. I love this team. Well, they're different teams, dude. This Mavs team is a classic 45 to 60 win teams that maxes out in the conference finals at the latest. So you're saying that this team is a team that could win 60 games and make the conference finals? That's pretty damn good. Did you hear the rumor of Kyrie wanting Luke out of Dallas? No, I have not heard that, or at least like anything I remotely believe. Why do I think Kyrie is for sure staying in Dallas? It's a money thing, guys. The Mavs do not do this if they're not like, we're going to pay Kyrie in the summer. It wouldn't make it already doesn't make a lot of sense, but it would make absolutely zero sense if they're like, oh, we'll see about bringing Kyrie back. It's a money thing, man. The Mavs will pay him. There's no other teams that'll pay him, and that's that. Now, will Kyrie finish his career in Dallas? I don't know. Maybe that's a different conversation. Maybe that's a different conversation. I do think I'm very confident he will start next season with the Dallas Mavericks. And if I'm wrong, then I'll be very shocked. How about that? I will be incredibly surprised. Trade him for Bradley Beal. Oh my God. Which of the following non-Davis, non-Irving players are you confident can play 20 plus effective minutes in an NBA Finals game? This is a good question. D-Live, for sure. PJ, for sure. Christie, 20 plus effective minutes. I think Christie defensively at least gives you a solid enough floor, and he's a reliable shooter, and that can be streaky at times, but I think that he's somebody I can rely on. Clay at this juncture. $20 minutes. His ability to hit like 3 threes in a row at any given moment is big. 20 minutes for sure. I think that's probably where I'm done. 20 for Exum. After what we saw in the playoffs last year, no way you could say yes. Hardy, absolutely no chance. Gafford, I feel like Gafford's been so good this season. If there was team awards, Gafford would get most improved player for the Mavs. He's been tremendous. 20 minutes though, I feel like certain matchups can play him off the court. We've seen this. If the opponent is the Celtics, take out Kyrie. That's a good point. That's a good point. Is Gafford going to fall off with no Luka lobs? Gafford was playing his best basketball of the season after Luka got hurt. So Dinwiddie, no chance. I'm sorry. Najee, oh man. I don't think I could confidently say Najee anymore. I really the 3-point shooting thing has become such a problem. At least with Clay, I could say his shooting ability, he spaces the floor. His shooting ability will put the Mavs back in the games. And if we're saying AD and is playing and other Mavs bigs, that floor spacing is going to be very, very important. No, Dinwiddie's not terrible. And I know sometimes we poke fun at him, but 20 minutes in a finals game is a different story. I would love to do Najee, but I'm just not sure I can do Najee. And I'm not sure I could go. I know what Caleb Martin's done in the past in the postseason, but I'm not sure I could go there. Like, are we for sure going Caleb Martin? I mean, definitely not Omax. If you put Omax on here, please. No, I know Najee's floaters are for real, and the thing about Najee is he can at least attack that space with real consistency, which is good. But my problem is though, is it's just like I feel like it's going to make life so hard on other guys. If you have one guy, Najee Marshall, who's getting guarded off, who's getting completely and totally left alone from three, and then you have maybe if you have Gafford or Lively on the court, those guys aren't getting guarded on the perimeter, and then you have AD, who's probably not getting a ton of attention on the perimeter. Najee's going to be treated just like Derek Jones Jr., but now there's no Luka shot creation. Spacing would be killer. I mean, I think my biggest problem with that is he has gotten, I mean, it feels like at this point, 7, 8, 9 times a game, Najee's got the ball out on the perimeter and been wide open and has just passed it up or missed it 3. But a lot of times has completely and totally passed it up. Celtic killer Caleb Martin. I don't know if I would feel super confident that Caleb Martin could play 20 plus effective minutes night in and night out. PJ, I am confident in. He's had a rough couple games. He has an ankle injury. That's the excuse. I've seen enough from PJ. Lively, I'm confident in. Clay, you guys seem a little bit more confident than me, but 20 minutes, okay. PJ is not low-key ass, man. God. How insane was it that they played PJ if he was obviously injured? I don't know what their training staff's doing, to be honest with you. Gaff, I don't think I could confidently say Gaff can play 20 plus minutes in a final series. Confident. I think there are some matchups that could be very, very bad for him. I think this is it. I don't think I could get there with Najee the way that he's not shot the 3 ball at all lately. And Caleb Martin, I don't know. Just always hurt, and it's been a couple years since that. Christie, I think defensively gives you a high floor, and I think his 3-point shooting is for real. So I know he's struggled a little bit lately. That's fine. I'm confident in that. Gaff is close. Caleb Martin's close, I guess. Najee's close too, but we've never seen Max as a starter in the playoffs, though. No, I know, but I just think his play style gives you a decent enough floor there. Christie's a role player. I know Christie's a role player. All of these guys are role players technically. That's the whole point of this question. Why did Hardy fall off so hard? I don't know if Hardy was like really ever fully super on. Like, what do you mean by fall off? Fall off from where? I guess I'm lower on Gafford. I don't think he's close. Remember the plus minus numbers all playoffs between him and Lively? You think he's gotten better since? So that's why I don't have him listed. He has improved this year. Like, genuinely. That stretch that he had after Luka got injured was the best basketball he's probably ever played. He looked awesome. Like, that's why I'm saying if you did individual team awards, he would win the most improved player for the Mavericks this year. However, you do have the taste of last year's playoffs where he just wasn't playable in certain matchups. Hardy fell off the small hill he was on. Yeah, no Dwight Powell, man. We've seen Dwight Powell be a starter on a conference finals team. I think that's true, but he also had a horrible stretch before that very good stretch. Yeah, it's been a weird season for Gaff. I agree with you. Same list for Lakers: LeBron, Luka, Doe, Gabe, AR-15, Rui Vanderbilt, and I'm taking Connect over Max Christie. What? You were in a playoff setting, you will feel more comfortable in Dalton Connect than Max Christie. Okay. I think the problem with talking about something like this, I think some people are still so emotional that it's just hard. Connect messes up every screen. Go back and watch that the 3 threes that Clay hit in that fourth quarter to tie the game against the Lakers. Go back and watch who's involved in all 3 of them. What do you think about the KD rumors and what will you be willing to give up? I definitely think the Mavs will be interested.